We've got some news out of the NBA that involves one of the up-and-coming stars, Zion Williamson, and why he might want out of New Orleans, and we'll tell you all about it right after the break. What is happening, everybody? Jeff Lightsy Jr. here with the Black Boss channel and Victory Formation. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and the notification bell because we upload every single day. Zion Williamson, yes, that Zion Williamson, the star, the up-and-coming superstar for the New Orleans Pelicans, may want out of New Orleans after all the debacle that has seen their coach be fired and people coming out and saying there's all kinds of dysfunction within that organization. Remember, Anthony Davis tried to warn us, but let's dive more into it. It says, report. I'm reading from the Bleacher Report via The Athletic. So, because The Athletic, you got to pay for it. I don't pay for it. It says, Zion Williamson is set to play for his third different head coach in 3 seasons with the New Orleans Pelicans, and some members of his family are reportedly looking to get the 20-year-old superstar away from the organization. Per Shams Charania, Joe Vardon, and William Gullery of The Athletic, certain members of the family, quote, want Williamson on another team. The report also notes that the sources around the NBA are paying close attention to Williamson's family members' thinly veiled unhappiness with the Pelicans and whether those feelings seeped into their own players' views, end quote. Despite the apparent unhappiness from the members of Williamson's family, it was reported that people who know the Pelican star Will says, quote, he just wants to win, and also, quote, remains focused on basketball and helping the New Orleans win next season. Stan Van Gundy is described as one of the targets of criticism from Williamson's family for being, quote, too rigid and demanding as a head coach. Well, you remember they just fired Stan Van Gundy, so that may have something to do with it. The Pelicans solved the problem on Wednesday by announcing the parting ways of Stan Van Gundy after just 1 season. So let's dive into some of the things. Oh, there's some more from this article. I'm sorry. It says there were some other issues in New Orleans that became public during the season. JJ Redick, who was traded from to the Dallas Mavericks in March, said on his podcast not long after the deal that he doesn't trust the Pelicans front office and how they handled his situation. ESPN's Brian Windhorst reported in February that Redick wanted to be traded to a team in the Northeast, close to where his family's home was, and obviously they sent him down to Dallas. So, there's also come out of this report that Zion Williamson didn't like the fact that they traded J.J. Redick because him and J.J. Redick were friends. Apparently, they had grown really close during Redick's time in New Orleans. So, what does all of this say? Well, it could be a bunch of hoopla, right? Like hoopla, wow, whatever. But where there's smoke, there's always fire, guys. And that explains why Stan Van Gundy was out the door after just 1 season. It sounds like Zion Williamson wasn't a fan of Zion, and guess what happens? The NBA caters to their stars. If the stars wants a coach fired, the coach gets fired. We've seen it with Magic Johnson. We've seen it with LeBron James, and now we've seen it with Zion Williamson. Like, guys, I'm sorry. I hate to say it, but, NBA coaches make millions of dollars. Stan Van Gundy has a contract, so he'll get paid for some of those years that he won't be coaching, and he'll still get paid. But he did get fired because it sounds like Zion Williamson did not want him there. He was too rigid. He's too old school. He's not a guy that a young team filled with Zion Williamson, who's 20, Brandon Ingram, who's like 23, Lonzo Ball's like 21, 22. Like, you don't need a Stan Van Gundy to coach that team. That was a bad hire from the jump. I said that when it happened, and now they're trying to fix it. They need to go out and get a guy like Chauncey Billups, but that's neither here nor there. It's for a different episode. But Zion Williamson, that begs to ask, would Zion Williamson, like, think about this. Zion is under contract for the next few years. Like, he's not going anywhere. Unless he's willing to sit out games and hold out, he is going to be a New Orleans Pelican, not just next year, but for the next, probably for the next 5 years. We're just being honest. But this will be, Zion's going to his 4th year. After 4 years, that's when your contract extension, they're allowed to offer you. Zion will probably be allowed to be offered the Supermax, because if my predictions are right, Zion will not only make the All-Star game next year, he'll probably make an All-NBA team. He's that talented. If he can stay healthy, it doesn't matter who's on his team. It doesn't matter who his coach is. If he can stay healthy, he can make an All-NBA team. He can be Julius Randle, what Julius Randle was this year. He's more talented than Julius Randle. He can do that. He's more powerful, more athletic, more explosive. He didn't have the jump shot, the three-point shot that Julius Randle has developed. But if Zion Williamson can stay healthy, get his conditioning under wraps, and continue to improve his three-point shot, which isn't bad, he can be what Julius Randle was. And Julius Randle was just named second team All-NBA. Zion Williamson can do that in year 4. But is Zion willing to turn down potentially, it's not guaranteed, but potentially between 180 and 200 million dollars to not play for the New Orleans Pelicans? Is he willing to do that? Is Zion Williamson, think about this, to play in a bigger market, to play for a more functional organization, is he willing to turn down 175 to 200 million dollars to not play for the New Orleans Pelicans? Is he and his family that upset with the Pelicans organization? Is there anything the Pelicans can do that could potentially, keep him from walking? Because the thing is, all the players on rookie deals, when they're eligible for contract extensions, the Luka Doncic's of the world, the Donovan Mitchells, all these guys who get these big time contract extensions. We've seen Devin Booker sign his, Bam Adebayo sign his, De'Aaron Fox sign his. Like, they all have the option to turn that down and hit the free agent market, but none of them do it because there's more incentive to sign your contract with your current team, the team that drafted you. That's why they can offer you the super max, is what it's called. And so it only makes financial sense to take that 150, 175, $200 million deal right after your rookie deal. You're leaving too much money on the floor. You're leaving like between, nobody's ever done it. So I don't even know how much money you're leaving, but I would minimum, you're leaving $50 million on the table. That's minimum. And I'm sure it's probably more than that. You get heavily penalized if you walk away from your team that drafted you after your first rookie contract. You get penalized if you don't sign a second contract with them. So it's going to be interesting to see Zion, who is crazy, you can market him to anybody, anywhere, who is super supremely talented, who every team on the NBA would want to have. If he is willing to say, bump the NBA money, I make a ton of money in endorsements, I'll make even more money if I'm in New York, or if I'm in LA, or if I'm in Miami, or if I'm in Houston or something, than I would in New Orleans. And I'll be with a franchise that has won championships before. New Orleans has never done that. Who knows how to treat a star. New Orleans clearly doesn't seem like they know how to do that. And who is a lot more organized and less dysfunctional. And New Orleans is clearly very, very dysfunctional right now. So it's going to be interesting, very, very interesting to watch how the Zion Williamson stuff plays out. Stay tuned to the Black Boss channel and Jeff Lightsy Jr. on YouTube to see how this works. Once again, I'm Jeff Lightsy Jr. with the Black Boss channel and Victory Formation. And follow me on Instagram at JLightsy7 and also the VF Sports Show. That's a Victory Formation Sports Show on Instagram. We post on there all the time. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Peace.